Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Looks like we are just waiting on Allison and Sharifa.
Okay. All
Good evening, chair lady.
right. Good evening. Good evening, Eric. How are you?
No complaints.
Good. Um, all right. Let's give her a minute. Oh my gosh. So, okay. It's 5:31. We still waiting for her?
Yes, it looks like Allison and Sharifa still need to join if you want to give them a few minutes,
Yes.
or we could skip down to principal's report. We can give them a few minutes.
Yeah, we can give them a few minutes. Okay. And that, Christina, I'm just gonna go grab some water. I'll be right back then, since we're waiting.
Okay, Sharifa's coming in now, so just Allison now.
Okay, just give me 1 sec.
Good evening, everyone. It's Sharifa.
Good evening. We are just waiting on Allison and we can begin.
Okay.
Carrie will be.
Okay, I'm back, Christina.
Okay, we're just waiting on Allison.
Okay, and for others on the call, she said she's coming. She'll be attending today's meeting, so just give her another minute, so.
Okay.
How many of us are on the call? We have me, 3. Six. Okay,
Allison should just be a few more minutes. She turned on Zoom, wanted to update, and does that every now and then. Here she comes. She's joining now.
Okay, happens to all of us. Sarah, all right. Good evening, everyone. Is that feedback?
Yes, there is a little feedback.
I'll put my computer.
Okay. All right, I think that's better. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for making today's meeting and joining today's board meeting on February 15th, 2024. This is a public meeting of Hope Community Public Charter School Board. We're now calling to order. We will now have a roll call to determine if we have quorum. Allison Barr,
I'm here.
Eric Johnson,
Mr. Johnson, can you come off mute?
okay, Sharifa Balagan,
I'm here.
I'm here, Anissa Bailey, absent today, and Lorraine Oyotobo is also absent today, here. Eric, do you hear us? We can see that he is here. So a quorum has been determined, and we will now proceed with the business portion of the meeting. We have an agenda to review. I would like to ask for a motion to approve today's agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was here. I just walked away.
Okay, we got you, Eric. We got you.
It's Sharifa. I move to approve today's agenda, Thursday, February 15th, 2024.
Thank you, Sharifat. May I have someone second the motion?
Second.
Thank you, Eric. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Nope, the agenda is approved. And board members, we also have the board minutes to review from our last meeting in January. Are there any corrections? I don't have any at this time.
None for
Okay.
me.
Great. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the January meeting, January 18th meeting?
This is Allison. I motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting on January 18th, 2024.
Thank you,
And this-
Allison.
And this is Eric who's second.
Thank you, Eric. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And any nays or abstentions? Nope. Great. The minutes we approved will be online, and minutes from this meeting will be approved at the March meeting. And the recording of this meeting will be available 24 to 48 hours in our site. And these actions are based on the Open Meetings Act. So today we'll hear updates from PLA and Hope on the progress of the school. And first up, we have the CMO update, starting with the principal's report. Dr. Owens.
How you doing today? Our current enrollment is now 222 scholars. Average daily attendance is 187 at this time. We just finished our NAEP testing. We did the NWA testing. We're in the middle of our WIDA testing as we speak. And we're also in the middle of almost in completion of our pre-K assessments as well. The events that we had the 100 days of school celebration, as well as a Grow and Go party to celebrate our students' growth and success. We had quarter two ceremonies, and we addressed academics and attendance. Black History Month focused on African American art. And we just completed our Valentine's Day dance, which was a great success, which was yesterday.
Okay, and you said the updated numbers for scholars are 227?
22.
222.
Yes. Okay. And we're doing our Black History Month celebration and those dates, all the things that we're doing every week, as you see in the right there.
Okay.
So, Mr. Owens, with the Black History events, do they happen at a particular time?
was mean this every day we have. I mean, every week we have a different focus. We have a saxophone player come in to entertain our scholars. It's not time stamp per se. It's just we're doing it every day. Have something going on every day. We have something going on focus every week.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, I thought it was maybe an event we could attend, but I see what you're doing. You kind of infusing it throughout the day. I got it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And are these opportunities for like hands-on learning for the kids or parents
Yes,
coming to this as well? Are
they're
parents
doing
invited?
They're doing projects. Like the day of the that we have in the gentlemen come in. You actually can come in and visit as well. And I could email you that date, that time.
I'm sorry, and parents can attend some of these events, or is it just for students?
I mean, parents are welcome all the time. We have an open door policy. Anytime they want to come in, peruse, and see what we're doing in the classrooms, they are welcome. Parents as well as the board.
Okay. All right. Anything else to share with us today?
That is it. Short and sweet.
All right. Thank you. Let me have an academic update. Melissa, you walking us through this, or is this you, Dr. Owens?
Yeah. Just sharing, I was last on the campus. We have our NWA data that we shared last time, but we actually did an NWA data crosswalk. So one of the things that we were looking at was specifically, what does the NWA data show us? And then we were looking at who were the scholars that were receiving intervention, and then doing a crosswalk between the two to see, are we seeing the right kind of ending data or the outcomes from our intervention program that we would expect to see. So NWA is that benchmark. We take it 3 times a year, and it shows, that our students are moving through and either achieving at least at their growth goals, which shows that they're achieving at a minimum growth. But really, we're looking to see, are they performing at grade level or, proficiently at grade level. So as we did this activity, we did it with the entire leadership team, Dr. Owens, Mrs. Hopkins. We also had Mrs. Gowie and Mrs. Gregory, and I feel like, Mrs. Jones. I think I have everybody. So we all did this together to look at it from a school-wide snapshot and then make some decisions as we move forward with that. So analyze what we were doing in intervention. We using the program that we have with Fidelity, and we were able to actually make some adjustments along the way. And I know Mrs. Hopkins on here can speak to the intervention that's taking place. But we have really put some different into place too over the few weeks to be able to speak to, how is intervention working? Are we doing it with Fidelity, with some Fidelity checks and so forth? So we did make some adjustments based on this. We have a watch list, and with that watch list, we look and see how many we anticipate we need to, achieve grade level performance on the CAPE assessment that will happen at the end of the school year. And we made some adjustments just based on people that moved away or whatnot. So we're really making sure that not only do we have a strong focus on intervention, also we have a strong focus on grade level, making sure those scholars that were on or near grade level, that we're continuing to push those scholars to, because often the triangle is flipped and we know a lot of scholars struggling. Sometimes we start to teach to that level instead of ensuring that we have just teaching on grade level and then also providing those scaffold and support so that those scholars can achieve that. So we were able to have that, jump in and be able to provide those pieces for our scholars and make some adjustments based on that crosswalk. And then we have some things that we have completed. I did provide a little on some feedback last time. So a little bit explanation for each of the assessments there, but we have a couple check, but actually, we're in the process of doing some more assessments there on campus. So we're getting close there, but also I have down Mrs. Hopkins. If there's any specific intervention updates, I will turn it over to her.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just a quick question. So
Sure.
with the, all the testing and, with Kate coming up, do we send anything out to parents, just kind of inform them, here's what this test means for your child, and here's kind of what I could expect? Do we do any kind of information about what the testing really is, or we just do it?
So I provide excellent resources for us to send to parents. They're even on the website. And I'm not sure if they've been sent out yet, but I'll let Dr. Owens or Mrs. Hopkins speak to those pieces if they have been sent out at this time. But OSSI does provide us with excellent frames, right? We can customize them, but to speak about the upcoming assessments.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, sometimes, when you don't really understand what all this means, so it's always helpful to get some type of information coming from the school.
Absolutely.
We still have quite some time before our test window opens up. Prior to the test window open up, we'll be sending our information in the principal newsletter, and it'll be on our Parent Square as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And I say that, let me back up a little bit too, because I know every year that we've been with, Hope and looking through DC, OSSI has always provided us with the new CAPE assessment. I'm not sure if the updated letter has been put on the website yet. So that is something that we'll need to dig into, but we do always provide those pieces, information to send it out to parents so they do know what's going on. But I hadn't thought through, like to your point, since CAPE is now the new assessment, I'm not sure that there's been an updated letter from OSSI with that information yet. But the assessments are very much this, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, but people just don't always know, so it's
right.
we'll let them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions for me?
Not right now.
I'm always available. Just let me know if you have any questions.
All right, great. All right. Is Ms. Hopkins was gonna take over from here, or who continues?
And
Thanks,
maybe,
Melissa.
yeah, you're welcome. And maybe, I don't know, maybe something's happening technology wise, but I can share. So I will share, we did, just based on intervention, we met with Mrs. Hopkins and Dr. Owens, and we have Faye Dunstan, who is one of our interventionists on campus, has really stepped up and added some additional layers in her leadership. And so she's been, assisting with printing out reports and kind of helping the accountability measure. I know Mrs. Hopkins, we have a document too, just looking through, and she's popping into classrooms, documenting, are we, because we have coordinated schedules. So we have small group instruction happening in classrooms, and that should be the same time as intervention so that they're not missing out on the grade level content that's happening at other times. So she's popping into classrooms, she's checking to see, are we following the master schedule? Are we using the curriculums that are in place for the interventions? Because the intervention aligns with the core curriculum so that it shouldn't be so far away from what they're teaching whole group in class as well. It should be connected. So she has a document, and we actually just looked at it just yesterday. And so we're going in, we're checking fidelity, we're making some adjustments, and we're getting updates regularly to, all levels of leadership to say, hey, here's where we are. Here are the barriers with intervention. But I feel like we have really, we met, like I said, about a month ago, and we have put a pretty solid plan together. And I feel like those pieces are really starting to come to light. And I can make some direct correlations between even our NWEA scores and what we saw from intervention data. So it was pretty exciting to, have those correlation pieces between what we're doing and where we know what's happening well and positive outcomes in the benchmark assessments that we're utilizing. So I'm not sure she's unable to come off, but I can share that little update with you. Any questions on intervention?
I'm thinking, So how do we then use this data then to pivot as we think about next school year planning as well?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that incorporated then and when teachers come back and before school starts in training, or how do you move the needle then based on the benchmarking data that you would get, or does it not come out in time for the new school in the beginning of the new school year?
So, I mean, I think we have multiple data points that we utilize. So we do, like, right at the end of the year and again at the beginning of the year, we will do benchmark for, it's called MClass, which is, It uses an assessment and it looks at specifically all literacy skills, but specifically it targets early literacy skills. So we're talking about phonemic awareness and phonics and reading fluently, because we know there's a research component that ties fluency to comprehension. And so we look at those pieces and it designs the lessons, that actually groups kids with similar needs, and then it designs those lessons together. So once we have that benchmark piece, really the program does a lot of the work, and then we can make adjustments because we are the experts, right? So if we need to make an adjustment because we feel like something's not quite right here, we can. But the program really does a lot of the lift for you, and it provides you with the materials and the lessons along the way. So I think we can hit the ground running. And I feel like with our watch list, we actually created our watch list over the summer last summer. So we already knew kind of, here are the scholars that we know we need to continue to push up that are either near grade level. And then also we know who are the ones that need intervention. So we have those positions and we have the materials and we have the data. So really we meet as a leadership team over the summer for 3.5 days. And so we actually work on those plans as a leadership team. And then really it's making sure we have what our teachers need, materials and whatnot, to be able to do that. Because intervention really and truly, and this is part of that piece that we're helping to continue to bolster, is that these pieces should also be implemented by teachers, right? So when we think of intervention, it's not just an interventionist, we're providing differentiation or instruction at a student's level to all students. And so that's the other, like, I would say, professional skill muscle that we're building still. And I know that Dr. Owens has been really intentional. We actually have that piece, and then along with the EL piece too is another layer. And I know that tomorrow specifically we have PD on that throughout the day to really help bolster some of those EL pieces, along with the curriculum components that will supplement that you approved, I think, a couple of board meetings ago. All of that will be provided additional PD tomorrow. So hopefully that answered. We have a lot of data points to help us know what to do, even from day one. So we should be hitting the ground running.
So how are the English learners doing? I know there is, well, from a teacher perspective and then from a student perspective. I know at the beginning of the school year, we had some teachers who were a bit nervous about having non-English speakers in their classroom and how to make that work. We're in the new year, hope,
Mm-hmm.
8 months into the school year. Have you seen any kind of growth improvement from that perspective? And how are those students then coming along?
And Dr. Owens, would you like to speak to that?
We're seeing a minimum amount of growth with the students. One thing is some of them did very well acquiring the language. We're using the SIOP model that we're using, what the teachers are using, is giving the teachers a resource of different type of interventions, visual cues, things of that nature to along. So our middle school has really grasped it quite a bit, and as well as some of our pre-K kids. They've been doing pre-K scholars have done extremely well, especially and they're showing, especially on the NAE math, they've done extremely well. They're not doing the ELA, but in math they've shown growth in math as well. And like, speaking of that, piggybacking on what Liz was saying, the data that we're using. So we're going. Kate's not going to be out when school starts, so we're looking at when school starts. We're going to look at for our new kids. I mean, for our kids that's coming back, we look at the end of year data, NAE data, to find out where they are and create watch lists for them as well, like we did this past summer, so we can identify the kids, ones that we need to come in and target them for intervention. And then those that are new to the building, we'll use the benchmark assessment at the beginning of the year and find out where they are. But from the fall to fall, and from the winter to fall, or spring to fall, we can find out how our kids did, and if they and then the benchmark for the beginning of the year, we find out if there any regression during the summertime. They had a summer slide, then we can identify those scholars and we know what we need to do so they can be successful.
I think, Melissa, you had provided at one point, I don't remember when, it was this comparison, that beginning of the year, end of the year, I think it was like winter, spring. It was some type of comparative data you had provided in a meeting many months ago, looking at the progression. Is that something that you would provide going into the next school year as we take a look back, or how
Absolutely.
we get some of that information? Just think about, I don't know when,
Absolutely.
but we could look, but that would be helpful too.
Yeah, and you're the line graph, and so absolutely. And when we look at after every benchmark, and I thought if I haven't provided it this last time, I can actually shoot it out in an email to all of you even after this meeting, where we are with the winter time. We did have growth and proficiency, 3 percentage points in ELA and 2 in math, and so we're on that trajectory. Really 7 to 10% is what we would be a great celebration, right? So that's what we would love to see in proficiency, and that's a grade level, number of or percentage of scholars that are performing at grade level. So I can send that to you when we jump off, and so that you can see what we've done. But I would really look back to like, what does a 3-year trend look like as you're kind of going through, and then and so I can share that information with you as well. And then the only thing that's a little wonky, and this is just to kind of keep in mind, if you remember when we talked about the beginning of the year, we had the ELA, it really had a really nice sharp upward trajectory, and then the math had a small downward dip, but we really weren't surprised because our population has changed this year. So the ELA, we have didn't take the assessment because it's their first year in the country, and we're following those guidelines where we don't provide those assessments to our students who are not speaking English in their first year to the country, but they still take. But we also know that they've not had consistent education, so we had a little dip in math, and then we had a steepward up, a fairly steep uptick in ELA. But it's also because we know we had a large number of students who didn't take the assessment because they're new to the country. So we might have some impact next year on ELA specifically. So I'm just kind of, prefacing some of the data that I'll send out with that, but I can send that to you so that you'll have it. Bob, I'll shoot you an email so you can see that information.
Okay, all right.
When we are looking at that information and the scores, or are we able to look at it from a demographic perspective where we can see like some of the dip is attributed to the new population, or are we making assumptions? Are we able to actually see the data to support that?
I was going to say, I think that for ELA, it will be difficult to see it because they did test, right? And so it would be difficult to see that upward tick was due to not having a testing. But I do think that we can share that with our math population, if that makes sense. I think that for math it will work, but for ELA it won't, just because I don't have any way to show that students didn't take a test. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
the more
I think we can
information that we have around like the factors or demographics, I think that'll be helpful so that we can fully understand the narrative.
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry, we would look at this. That's a lot of feedback. I'm sorry, could you clarify? So when would we look at this again, next school year, or when would we?
I
You're
can
gonna
give
send
it to you.
something out now, but that's not really the full picture until.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
No,
So-
now, but I'll send it out after our last benchmark. So that will be at April into May. So after that last benchmark, I'll gather the data again, and I'll get it to you again. After benchmark, I'll get you a new picture. But honestly, to your point, it's actually what I share is actually multiple years, so you can see how we've performed over the last 3 years. So at the end of this year, you'll have that information. And to your point, I would be happy to kind of put some things in there and justify why we received the scores that we received, within each of those pieces, or kind of to your point. I know Sharifa mentioned, making sure, just kind of documenting this is the time that we had a new population that. Or, for example, I know one of our data points was actually tested at home, right? So that very first data point, there's like, oh my gosh, we did phenomenal, but it was during the pandemic and the assessment took place in people's homes. So we know that data probably is not accurate, which is what we saw across the network when we had to take assessments and students were at home with their parents. People helped, you know what I mean? So I'm happy to kind of notate that on the report so you can kind of see each of those pieces.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? No, okay, all right. Thank
Just
you.
one,
Thank you.
not really a question, but just a sense of a point of understanding. I just want to make sure that I want to begin by saying we can talk about, people can disagree about particular tactics, but the strategies that I'm listening to you identify are sound. Using data to inform your decision and get as specific as you can about the content and have as many different data points you can have about any particular skill set area is helpful, right? And so that strategy is really well thought out. I just want to say that, but Sharif was raising a different sort of question, though, Melissa. So I want to separate those two things out. We can quibble about a particular tactic, but the strategy is sound. Sharifa was talking. Her question seemed to me to be about when we look at data, are there assumptions we're making about data, or are there actual moments that we can correlate to particular circumstances or phenomena? And I think that's a really good question, because that's a huge part of data analysis. I don't want us to belabor the point now, but I do think, Melissa, you were kind of talking past that point. That's what I thought. And Sharifa she's well equipped to speak for herself, but I thought that was sort of the question she was trying to get at, though.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was off mute. And I think too, what Sharif is asking is more at a granular level, right? She wants to see when we look at that data and we really disaggregate and dissect it, and we're drilling down to see exactly who and make, to your point, I do agree. And we do have that ability. So I will make sure that we drill down to really make sure that what we're saying is concrete and not just assumptions. And I appreciated that, because really that narrative helps to guide our mission and our vision, right? So when we talk about mission and vision, what we're talking, how we adjust our overall view of what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I can appreciate that. And I don't have any issues at all. Please no, and I not have issues, but I will make sure that you have what you need and that we drill down to get that granular piece to make sure that what we're saying matches data and that we have the right narrative that we're pushing out. So I appreciate that.
That's the best response you could have given, Melissa. Thank you.
And I think what might also be helpful in the follow-up is, I think particularly as it's really great to see that we have a goal around what we want to see proficiency-wise on the PARCC assessment, but then by grade level as well, knowing that probably varies across the grades, and maybe somewhere understanding the EL population that exists in those grades too, whether that's N size or percentage.
Absolutely. And I think even most importantly, so when like Clifford and I sit down and we talk about the data and I see a specific grade or, or class or whatnot, my most important number one question is tell me what's going on here. Like, what do we know about this? And, and then if we know there's something going on, how are we responding to it? So we have those deep data talks, to your point, like what is it specifically happening? But I will break it down. I have it where we can break it down by grade, break it down by multiple layers. And so I'll make sure that we get all of those pieces back to you.
Great, because obviously the more you aggregate, the more you lose the focus of what you're trying to do by grade.
Absolutely.
Well, sounds good. Any other questions about the data before we move on? No, okay. So who's up next? Recruitment and enrollment.
Mr. Tolliver.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Oliver.
So I'll reiterate the same thing that Dr. Owens just mentioned in reference to the enrollment. The enrollment has increased to 222 as of today. I have briefly a few highlights in reference to enrollment. I do want to say, I want to highlight this from our last board meeting. I know I spoke in reference to our 8th grade seniors who had the opportunity to have the high school fair. As a follow-up, the next step this month, which is on February the 29th, our scholars will have the opportunity to tour 2 high schools. It has already been organized for students to attend the schools, but we'll get a snapshot of what a day in reference to a schedule that a scholar would have at Girls Global, as well as IDEA PCS. So I think that's very interesting for our students to be able to see what students have the opportunity to experience on a daily basis and to be able to walk the halls with their other scholars. I will say that we have some other scholars who are in the eighth grade who were interested in two other additional high schools. But we were not able to get those tours. However, I was able to submit the information that was received by me for Dunbar High School and McKinley Tech. McKinley Tech is a vocational school, but they specialize in technology, so students were aware of them having a STEM night. So as we move forward, I'll continue to work with the scholars as well as the teachers and just making sure that they make the best decision for their educational endeavors. And that's all I have at this moment.
Okay, and you should have some more data for us, Mr. Tolliver. I think enrollment deadline is March 1, and I think the notices go out end of March. So you will have some data for us then at the April meeting in terms of what enrollment looks like, tentatively looks like.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And the new students that you received as of today, were these transfers from a new school or just like, what's the circumstance?
So since the last board meeting, to answer your question, yes. So the students have been transfers from other schools, but also when I have the opportunity as the student enrollment coordinator, which is to review the My School DC process, there are some candidates or families who are looking forward to transitioning into Hope PCS, and so I have the opportunity to connect with those families and get them in for enrollment. Um, but also making sure that they're comfortable when they walk through the door. So I continue to work with Dr. Owens as well as Ms. Walter in reference to making sure that we work on recruitment every day.
Okay, you also have, you did some outreach at United Planning Organization, the Y, petite child care. Are these for like aftercare, before care, or what were those about? What was that about?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
I said in your slide, it says on last week's outreach, in addition to some schools, there's United Planning Organization, the Y, Petite Childcare, it says shelter. Are these like additional resources for parents, or this applied to before care, after care? Like what are those? What was the outcome of the outreach?
Oh, good question. Okay. So, yes, that's outreach. And so, my task is to make sure I reach out to organizations in Ward 5, 6, 7, and 8. So those were just a few that I had the opportunity to touch bases with last week in reference to recruitment. So every time I touch each and every organization, the goal is to pass out open house flyers as well as enrollment information, but also my business card, and then also asking the establishment if it's okay with their permission for me to put out an enrollment sign. So those are just some of the organizations in reference to recruitment. So the goal is to receive scholars. But when you see La Petite center, those are kids who range in between, let's say, age 3. And so my goal is to connect with them to get on their calendar and also have the scholars enroll into our school for pre-K 3 or pre-K 4. So with that communication, we may be also, or I may have the opportunity to touch bases with other siblings through that or other parents.
Yeah, they're not that far from the school, to be quite honest. So it's good. All right, great. Okay, and intent to return, that's coming up in April or March?
Sorry, I couldn't get off of mute. The intent to return has already been done. Right now, as it turns out, the majority or all of our students right now are looking forward to return as far as the families at this point. So I think we're doing a great job. I'll continue to demonstrate customer service as well as the rest of the team. But for right now, I think all of our families across the board right now will be returning, and I think they're comfortable at this point. So we just have to keep pushing with enrollment and just making sure that we do everything we can to keep retention. So retention is the goal, but also enrollment.
I agree. I agree. So in my school, DC, if a parent who said, yes, I'm gonna come back, but if they put their kid in the lottery, just as a, let's see what happens. Do you guys get data from that or no? So you can kind of, no?
No, only if the good question. The only way I would get the information is if their parent chose us as a first choice, second choice, or third choice, or if we're on their list.
Okay.
And then I have the opportunity to reach out to their family, but I'm not sure how the dynamics of their my school DC behind the scenes looks as far as the match, but I'm able to connect with those families.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if we knew if parents were, shopping around, if there's a way we could kind of hedge some of that as well, but maybe not. So, okay. All right. And thanks, Mr. Tolliver. So continued enrollment. So I guess that's Miss Ashley.
Yes, good evening. Can you all see me? Hopefully you can. Can you all see me? Been having issues with my camera today, so if you cannot, I apologize, but I am here.
No,
Christina,
but we can hear you. Thank you,
I can
Ashley.
hear you, but not see you. That's okay.
okay, sorry about that. Christina, can I please share my screen?
Absolutely. Just one moment. Hold on, Ashley. I'm not seeing you on my screen now. Okay, here you are.
Okay. Thank you so much. There we go. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So our streaming ads campaign is running. This is running. It started this month. And it's a targeted campaign focused on branding and awareness. So streaming TV ads, essentially, it's one of the most popular forms of TV now. More folks are migrating to streaming platforms like Hulu, Peacock, Tubi, things of that nature in comparison to cable TV. With about 75% of the US watching streaming platforms. So these ads are unskippable, and they run on any platform that our target audience is watching at the time. This includes platforms like I mentioned, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus, and many others. And so we have English and Spanish ads running, and both are performing very well with over 6,000 impressions each so far, which accumulates to over 12,000 impressions. So, and that's just from the beginning of the month. We've still got the rest of the month to go. So very excited to see our impressions there. This is the English
Welcome
ad.
to Hope Community Public Charter School, where education meets innovation and creativity, a place where science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics come together to inspire the next generation of thinkers and problem solvers.
Hi, my name is Deandra, and I am a third grade scholar at Hope. My favorite thing at Hope is my teachers and what I learn.
Join the Hope family and discover the endless possibilities that await you.
Big dreams, big goals, big hope.
Perfect. And this is our Spanish ad.
Bienvenidos a la escuela pública Charter Comunitaria Hope, donde la educación se encuentra con la innovación y la creatividad. Un lugar donde la ciencia, la tecnología, la ingeniería, las artes y las matemáticas se unen para inspirar a la próxima generación de pensadores y solucionadores de problemas.
Hi, my name is Deandra, and I am a third grade scholar at Hope. My favorite thing at Hope is my teachers and what I learn.
Únete a toda la familia y descubre las infinitas posibilidades que te esperan.
Perfect. And both of our ads are targeted to our target audience. So of course our Spanish ads are targeted to Spanish speaking households with children in the home in our age ranges. So that way they're literally going to our target audience, both English and Spanish. That is all for me.
I think that's well done. I mean, whoever did that can take a bow. That's really well done.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. It was definitely a team effort. Thank you to PIR Hopkins, Principal Owens, Mr. Tolliver. We all came together to piece this together. So it was a team effort. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah. It looks more than pieced together, not the right words to use.
Well, to pull it together, I should say.
Okay, that sounds much better.
It.
It's not like just reframe it the right way, but it's nicely done. Happy to see. I haven't seen it on TV, haven't seen it on those apps, but I'll keep an eye out. But happy to see that we have this year.
Wonderful. And because it's targeted to, for example, it's targeted to homes, women ages 25 to 65 with children in the homes ages 4 to 13. So folks that are not in our target audience won't see the ad, and you want your ad to be very targeted in that way for it to be a good campaign.
Mm-hmm. So,
and I have to check, do we have any versions on our website at all for people to, people like videos and quick snippets, or on Instagram airing that there?
Say that one more time, Allison, I'm sorry.
Are the videos, do we have versions of this on our website at all, or through marketing through Instagram videos?
Yeah, so we will be adding this to the website. We're also going to be adding it to social media. We will be doing all of that.
Great.
And actually, you have
just wanted you all to see it first here. I'm sorry about that. I mean, interrupt.
Oh, okay. So, thanks for sharing us this early stage. And so you'll have data like, May, June, you have better data at that point in terms of how the ad is doing, or?
Absolutely. So we'll be able to share. We'll be able to share what platforms they showed on. We'll be able to share those impressions. And there'll be some other data pieces that we'll be able to share during that point as well.
Okay. Are we doing anything? And I know that, I think sometimes we forget our parents and families who are already after school. We don't want to take them for granted. But are we doing any materials? Is there anything that we're doing specifically geared to current enrollees, their families, to kind of re-encourage them to attend, to re-enroll at the school? Is there anything focused like that?
Absolutely. So we are pushing re-enrollment on socials. We also are going to be sharing with Mr. Tolliver a toolkit for re-enrollment, so that way he can send any text messages, emails, things of that nature. But currently we are pushing re-enrollment and enrollment at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
I like your thinking though, Carrie, and making sure that that our current parents don't feel slighted. I like the sentiment that you're expressing there.
Yeah, retention is if we can get all 222, well, not all, because some of them are moving on, but if we can capture 90% or 95% of those students in the next school year, I mean, that's half the battle, I think, in terms of growing the enrollment. You want happy, engaged parents moving forward with the school to the next grade and the next grade. So retention is just as important as getting the new people in. Just like in any organization, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I had a quick question.
We hear you, HR person. I hear the HR in there. I hear the HR in your voice when you talk like that.
Yes, what I do. All right. Well, thanks, Ashley. This was actually nice to see. Thank you for sharing the video and stuff with us.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for the feedback.
Okay. All right. Okay. Chris, a quick question. I think we're moving through the agenda pretty quickly today. The only action item was on the high school stuff, which Mr. Tolliver still went through with us. No financial updates from Eva this time around this month.
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, the finance committee, we had to push the call till next week, so we weren't able to review the financials as a team yet.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Oh, thanks. Okay. I know I thought I was missing a meeting on my calendar. Okay.
Yeah, it's next week, next Tuesday.
It's next week. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Okay, great. So we'll get that update next call that we're on. Okay. Any before we get to committee updates, I think Melissa did all that with the academic piece, unless there's anything additional that you wanted to share, Melissa, that Anissa isn't here, or Dr. Owens on the academic committee front.
I don't think so. We hit a lot of it in the report today too. So I think we kind of overlapped, right? Just got a little more deep into some of the data pieces, but no, I think we're good.
Okay. There's something bothering me. I don't know what it is. I don't remember. It'll come back. It'll come back. Just broadly speaking, we have some parents, additional new parents interested in joining the board. So we will probably do some exploring there as well, so we can continue to grow our numbers and keep also parents engaged in the process as well. So that's the only update that I have there. Okay, so new business action items, the calendar.
Yeah, we just have presented the calendar. This has been ran past as well, and this would be the calendar for the next school year. We do have some dates listed for teacher training that you can see here. And so if there's any questions, please let me know. I will share, we have 3 PD days in the beginning of the first semester, in the beginning of the year. We have 2 PD days in the second semester. And we have that time really dedicated to, trying to keep it simple, keep focused on what we're doing, reviewing data, tying it back to the core. But that's the gist of the calendar. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I can barely see it. So I'm squinting here. So parent teacher conferences are only 2 for the whole year?
Sorry, I'm squinting too. I'm trying to see there.
October and March. Those
Yeah, I believe
the conferences on, like, what are we doing between that time? Like,
yeah. Well, in all honesty, if we have any grades, I know one of the things Dr. Owens shares with the teachers is if a student is receiving a poor grade or a grade that's not typical of their performance, that the expectation is that we're calling home and we're having meetings with parents. And that's prior to report cards. That shouldn't happen just when report cards go out. That's the expectation across the building. But we have those, twice a year expected, meet with every single, family at those times. But in the interim, we should be calling and making those connections and working with families, even before that. And that's even before progress reports go out too. There shouldn't be any surprises. I've heard Dr. Owens say that many times. No surprises. People should know, parents should know what their child's bring home in regards to grades.
do we have any kind of learning showcases or incident or a day or evening where the parents can come and kind of see what their children are doing or projects, or is there like a quick, song from the choir or something from the engineering people making, engineers, the STEM students? Like, do we have anything like that on the calendar, or?
It's not on the calendar. We usually, when we come at the beginning of the year, we sit down as a team, and we just had it previously. We had the STEM night, so we have a STEAM night, we have ELA, we have a math night. So that is not on the actual school calendar, but we send it out at the beginning of the year when we sit down and decide. Look at meet with our curriculum folks, decide when we're going to have it, and then we post it. It's always on Parent Square, and it's always posted weeks in advance on the school website.
I know the plan is to have an event they develop over the summer, right? So that was one of the things. So it's not on this. This is just like the academic calendar, but we do have an event calendar that they complete over the summer to make sure that we're well prepared for any event coming up.
All right. And so winter break is longer this year, next school year. because I guess January 1st is a Wednesday, and first day is a thing. And Thanksgiving, still not a full week off, just the Wednesday and Thursday, Friday.
I think the goal, and Christina, and I don't know if this is just my screen, but it's still, now I can't see those bottom months. Oh, here, sorry. Now it's pulling up. So I think too, the idea was to try to end the school year as either end of May to at the beginning. And the reason why we do that is because we do have summer learning. A lot of the grants that pay for summer learning, a certain amount of time that they're in summer learning. So when we look at that piece, trying to end sooner is kind of the idea behind that. But I think our winter break is only different by 1 day. I think it only is 1 day different. So
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining about that because I know it's
Yeah.
awkward this year with
yeah,
the first on a Wednesday and the next, it's why make kids come in Thursday and Friday? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, that's fine.
right.
And our summer advantage, right? That's what it's called, if I remember correctly. And that will start in June of next. And that starts typically in June.
Mm-hmm.
In June.
Actually, usually it starts like midway through the following week. So like the last week so teachers will have their training and roll right in because we try to give them the second half of the summer, right, to really have some time to disconnect and decompress before they get back up and rolling. And they're paid, there's some incentives there. The morning is really focused on academics, math, and reading specifically. And then the afternoon is really enrichment and field trips and things of that nature. We try to make it a really more camp style in the afternoon so that it's a place that's, has a lot of extra fun, not just the heavy learning, not heavy, but you know what I mean? The heavier learning, the pieces that happen in the morning. But yeah, so that will start, and I believe it goes 5 weeks, based on the grant that's helping to do the lift and pay for the program. So it'll start there and go through the first week of July, and then we will, it's 3 to 4 weeks, and then we'll be popping back up again.
It's 5 weeks. Okay, all right. We provide lunch, right? I think Melissa, you're frozen. Not sure if you can hear. But I would make the assumption that we do provide lunch.
We provide lunch. This is Paul. Yes, we do provide lunch through the National School Lunch Program.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Paul. Oh, do we need to actually approve this, or is this fine? Melissa?
Yes, it does need to be approved.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board members about the calendar? Next school calendar? No? Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the school year 24-25 school calendar.
This is Allison.
Yes.
I motion to approve the 24-25 school calendar.
Thank you, Allison. I have someone to second the motion.
Second.
Sharifa, second. Oh, 2 seconds.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Nope. And the calendar for school year 24-25 is approved. So let me just go back. So are there any other updates, Paul? Is there anything on your plate that we should be aware of before we move into closed session?
Nothing for me right now, ma'am. I think we'll have some updates for you after the committee meeting next week.
Okay, all right, great. And we still need to get back to you on the bus, right, Paul?
That's correct. It's one of the topics we have for the committee, but I've submitted everything needed for it.
Okay, all right. Okay, we haven't forgotten. We still get back to you on that one. All right, well, okay, the next thing is open communication, public comments. I'd like to open the floor to anyone who'd like to have a public comment, and, please submit comments to the agenda items and no more than 3 minutes. So I open the floor now. Okay, so no public comments. I would like to move the board to, I'd like to make a motion to move the board to closed sessions for the purposes of contracts, legal and personnel issues. May I have a motion to move us to closed session?
So
Motion
moved.
to,
Oh,
Second? Yes. All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Aye. Nays, abstentions, no. We move to closed session. Everyone, I know some of you will jump off here. Thank you so much for your time this evening. If you want to hang around a little longer, feel free to do so. And the board is going to go into a brief closed session. And thank you, our presenters, Melissa, great information, Dr. Owens, Mr. Tolliver, and Miss Ashley, with the great videos. So, and thank you, Paul, as well.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Did Sharifa go?
It looks like she did. Let me stop recording. I'm trying to get us in a breakout room. Just one moment.
Sure. Okay.
can we do it without her?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is just, it'll just be brief.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hi, Christina.
Hello.
Hi, so thank everyone for attending. Just want to adjourn today's meeting. We already took the vote.
Oh, I'm like, where did everyone go?
We took the vote before we actually came over, so everybody's gone. Sorry about that.
No problem. Have a good evening, Carrie.
Okay, you too. Thanks, Christina. Bye-bye.